Choose to work at being a friend, to work at that friendship. Good friendship, the right kind of friendship, don't just happen overnight. You have to make a willful choice about keeping and growing these kinds of friendship. Don't do what some people do in their lives with it. Some people make choices to leave a good friend behind for a questionable friend. Friendship takes time and effort. So sit together at lunch, call, send an email or text, hang out together. When the Apostle Paul wrote to his friends in Philippi, he said, I have you in my heart, Philippians 1:7. Do you have your friend? Do you have a best friend? I have a best friend, and I talked about his name is Adam. We're going to be spending some time here coming up here in the next week. Him and two other friends. It's going to be 4 of us, and we're going to have a great time. That I can assure you. So take time to spend with your best friends. What can you do today to strengthen your friendship? What can you do today to strengthen your friendship? That's something that you can easily think about. Like we talked about earlier, pay a compliment. Tell somebody that, hey, man, hey, you're looking good, dude. Keep it up. I know, people say, man, I'm not that type of person. Well, you want to be encouraged. You want people to say nice things about you. How about starting it out yourself? How about saying something nice to people? And the old saying, if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything. Because no one wants to hear negative talking. There's enough negative self-talk going on in our minds. We don't need friends to give us negative self-talk. In finding a friend, friends are easy to find if you know what to look for. If you are what you are looking for, yes, if you will be what you are looking for, you will find it. Because I guarantee whatever mindset you give, that's the type of person you're going to find. You give off negative self-talk, you're going to find other people that give off negative self-talk. If you give off positive self-talk, then you're going to find others that be and give positive self-talk. And if they're giving negative self-talk to your positive self-talk, you're going to know that opposite do not attract on that end. So you're going to have to find a friend, and you're going to have to be that friend, because negative self-talk, anybody can do it. Stinking thinking, so many people have it. But if you want to be a true friend, you don't have to settle for someone that wants to be around you just because you have something. Just remember, there's a way out of your mess, and it's JESUS.
Where can you buy a brand new Nissan with a lifetime warranty? Kingston Pike. Hey, folks, Gerald Anderson with Ted Russell Nissan. You heard it right. Every new Ted Russell Nissan comes with a lifetime warranty, and that's a long, long time. Ted Russell Nissan on Kingston Pike.
Good morning and welcome to AM 1380 WYSH and Ask Your Neighbor. Ask Your Neighbor can also be heard and seen on our website, WYSHradio.com. And if you are in Anderson, Rome, or Morgan County and have Comcast cable, you can watch Ask Your Neighbor on BBB TV Channel 12. Ask Your Neighbor is the program where you call in and do just that. Ask Your Neighbor. Do you have a comment? Do you have a problem? Or do you have a question? Then call in and ask your neighbor. 865-457-1380 or toll free at 877-711-4005. And for those of you that might be listening or watching on the internet, you can email from our website, WYSHradio.com. Just click on the Contact Us button and email your questions. Now sit back and listen as listeners throughout East Tennessee and the entire world answer your questions on Ask Your Neighbor on BBB TV 12 and AM 1380 WYSH.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Ask Your Neighbor. Dr. David Ayers in with us this morning. It's normally the first Tuesday of the month, but you were moving, so we scooched you back a month. Well, I ask you this. You got it all moved now?
Yeah, I'm down here.
It's here.
No current properties in West Virginia.
Okay.
That's all down here.
It's all fun. Moving's always fun.
Oh, I lived the first year of my life in a place called Guyandotte, which is a suburb of Huntington, West Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
My parents rented the house. And then when I was 1, we moved over to a place called Evans Avenue in Huntington. And I lived there until I was 26 years old and got married. And now, I think I've lived 26 places since then. I have bounced around so much. But I always had a place in West Virginia. Wherever I was, I kept the farm there in West Virginia.
Sure.
But now it's sold, and I'm just down here. Live in a little apartment there in Oak Ridge.
Are you guys you're looking for something to get here?
Yeah, in West Virginia money, I made decent money off the farm. It was 80 acres. Down here, you won't go near as far. I'll be lucky to get 10 acres.
Yeah.
If you look it up, evidently West Virginia is the place to go if you've got some money and you want to buy some property. Land's pretty cheap up there.
Remember, guys, if you've got questions, you can always call. I think we actually do have a question. Somebody called me yesterday wanting to know when you were going to be here, so this might be the lady that called yesterday. Let's see if we can start off with this question here. If you're just tuning in, Dr. David Ayers is with us. Ask the doctor. You can call in and ask questions anytime during the show. Just call. Jay will put you on hold. We'll stop what we're doing and get to you. Good morning. Welcome to WYSH Radio and Ask Your Neighbor. Ask the doctor. Do you have a question for Dr. Ayers?
Yes, I do. I'm not the lady who called yesterday. I heard her call. Dr. Ayers, I did call the last time you were on, and my questions were about the use of ivermectin.
Right.
And I do get ivermectin from a pharmacy in Oak Ridge that compounds it, but he gives no dosage, no protocol at all. He said you have to get that from doctors. My primary care, I don't know if I should even say it, is with Covenant. My GI doctor is with UT, and they refuse to discuss anything related to ivermectin. So you gave me the name of some places online to look. Mm-hmm. I found that most of those were about uses for cancer, which is not my use. Mm-hmm. My question is, you've mentioned several times your wife is very knowledgeable about it. Mm-hmm. Is she you all are moving here. Is she going to have some type of a practice open that I could contact her?
No, she's a RN, so she actually worked for a doctor if she worked, but she's got other things to keep her occupied currently. Just tell me your question. I'll just tell you those.
Well, that was going to be my question. If I contacted her, would she give? I've been told everything that you can just take. These are 12 milligram capsules. He does. I've been told you can take one a day for 3 days, for 5 days, as much as you want. I've been told you have to take it with something that it.
You're needing the protocol for
a protocol to use ivermectin for my issues are respiratory and IBS, and I've read and talked to people that say they've had great results from it. Mm-hmm. I just want to know, how should I take it? Should I take it by itself? Should I take it with food? Should I take it in the morning? Should I take one a day? How long should I take it? I don't want to just start taking it every day.
Okay. You want to hang up and let him answer?
Yeah,
I'll hang up. I'll hang up. Thanks. I was hoping your wife was going to open some kind of a practice or have a website or something, because you said she had a display at a church event and everybody was talking to her about her. But I'll hang up anyway.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Respiratory, IBS, mainly why she wants to take it. What would be the protocol?
I think this 3
and
months.
15 milligram tablet, I think she said.
Yeah. Let me just see something here. Florida.
Right.
I go to FloridaSharkman.
FloridaSharkman.com.
Let me look it up here.
Okay.
My wife's listening, but
FloridaSharkman.com.
It didn't come up. He's just
spinning.
Well, I said 404, so that's usually not good.
No.
I will shoot. I think she's out in the parking lot, so I could just go get her. Just so you know, my car broke down on the way here, and my wife had to come and get me and take me to the radio station. So I'm a little.
While you look for that, let me see what this question
Okay.
is. Good morning. Welcome to Ask Your Neighbor this morning. Do you have a question for Dr. Ayers?
Well, this is just for the same lady, and I was going to tell him I did find Florida Shark Man. He's on Truth Social. They took all of his information down, and on Truth Social, he only posts about cancer.
Gotcha.
And mine are 12 milligram. They're not 15.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
All right, ma'am. Bye-bye.
So
his site is gone?
Well, I guess. Florida Shark Man on X, she says, but 0.2 milligrams per kilogram is what my wife wrote. There's about a 3-month protocol, and we've done it at our house. So, and part of that time you take ivermectin, part of the time you don't. Part of the time you take fenbendazole, and there's some other stuff along with that. That's the protocol I would recommend for you. Do that for the 3 months, and then
take how much?
0.2 milligrams per kilogram. So you have to turn your weight into kilograms. So it's 2.2
milligrams for every kilogram you weigh.
Pounds per kilogram.
2.2 milligrams.
2.2 pounds per kilogram.
Oh, there's
2.2 pounds per kilogram.
Yeah.
So how much? 11 kilograms would be 22 pounds or something. So it's about half, basically. So whatever your weight is, divide it by 2, and that's about how many kilograms you weigh. Okay. And then you want to take 0.2 milligrams per kilogram. And you can take it once a day. Okay. When I had 15 milligram pills, I divided it, because I think my dose came out to 45 milligrams a day. And tried 15, I took 3 pills a day. But you can take them all at once. Any kind of new medicine, I'd recommend starting out with maybe a third of the dose, a couple of days, and then half the dose, a couple of days, and just make sure your body's going to do okay with it.
And that's starting off with, she's got the 12 milligram pills, take part of them, and then does she take anything else with it?
Well, that's what I'm telling her. I think she needs that whole protocol. I'm going to see if it... let me see. I'm chatting with my wife on the phone here. Let's see if we can give her that 3-month protocol. If I can find it, I'll see if I can put it on our website.
Okay.
And you...
Or just tag us here at the station.
Give the 3-month protocol. 3-month protocol is really for parasites and stuff, but it's all the same kind of thing. We're going to talk more about ivermectin today. It's actually some not...
Okay.
Contraband cures. There it is. Contraband cures. Contrabandcures.com.
Okay.
And that's got the 3-month protocol.
Contraband
cures. And it does come up. Contraband cures. Okay. Contra, C-O-N-T-R-A, band, V-A-N-D, cures. So you should do the antiviral protocol. Let's see what she says.
Yeah.
There's it. Follow protocol B.
Okay.
And she said, or followed by. Do antiviral protocol and follow that by protocol B. So antiviral protocol on contraband cures, and then do protocol B. That's a 3-month thing. By then you should know how much help it's going to be, and if something you want to continue, you could. Ivermectin seems to be safe for long-term use. I don't know of any ill effects. My wife likes to add quercetin, or quercetin, depending on how you want to say that word. It's Quercetin.
And she should take that
over the counter.
for 3 months?
Also is over the counter. Is that a whole protocol?
Okay.
If you do the antiviral protocol, followed by protocol B on contraband cures, that should be 3 months. There's a calendar. You just stick with the calendar and follow your way through it.
Okay.
And we've used that similar stuff for people with cancer and had success. I mean, I don't treat anybody, but I can point people in that direction if they give me a call. And I've had people I know do remarkably well. I've had people not do it and do remarkably poorly. So And we're going to talk about why people do poorly with cancer treatment here in just a second. So we got the phone call caught up, or?
Yep.
Okay. So the first thing I had on my list is there's a book called by Dr. Jeffrey Singer. I think he's a surgeon, singer like the sewing machine, called Your Body, Your Health Care. And he says right now, in his opinion, the government's got too much control over what happens to our bodies, in the sense that it's sort of your government and the insurance that determines, particularly if you're on Medicare, who determines what caregivers you can have.
Mm-hmm.
They also determine what facilities you can go to. They determine what medications you can take, and who can prescribe them. So we don't really have very medical freedom here in the country. And I think I heard him say the other day, we have sick care in America, and that's one of the issues. We have to get away from that. We're just sick care, and there's no health care. Nobody's trying to make you healthier. They're just dealing with the issues you have, which would be okay if that's the only time you went to the doctor, which is the way it sort of used to be. But the problem is now our food is such poor food.
Mm-hmm.
So if you hear people taking vitamins and having remarkable success, just know that should be in your food, and it's not in your food. That's why vitamins seem like miracle drugs again. Like they were like miracle drugs when they first came out, and now they're like miracle drugs again because they're not in our food. Our food's just been stripped down to something to chew and swallow.
Yeah,
and get calories. So take responsibility for your own health, and we'll talk about some things you can do today. We talked the last time about how 70 to 80% of your immune system is in your gut, and that's, people find that amazing, but it's your intestines that's got the bulk of your immune system. And to keep that working well, you need a good variety of bacteria in there. The problem is when you take an antibiotic, it just kills the bacteria in your gut. And when it does, you destroy your immune system. That's one of the problems with the COVID shot. It damaged the bacteria in the intestine, and then people were susceptible to catching illnesses and cancer. Because remember, your immune system is what picks up cancer, as well as what picks up diseases that you might catch, like infections. So there's a study at the University of Texas Southwestern Medical Center, and they discovered how healthy bacteria, they escape the intestinal tract, they go to the lymph nodes and to cancerous tumors elsewhere in the body. So these bacteria in your gut leave and go to where there's trouble, and then they set up an immune system to kill this cancer or take care of this infection. And before that, we really didn't know how that worked. And they also showed why antibiotics weaken the effect of immunotherapies. Because a lot of the cancer therapy now, if you're sticking the regular medical framework, is immunotherapy. In fact, almost everything's immunotherapy now. If you look at all these drugs that are on your television or on your YouTube or whatever you're watching, they end in MAB. That stands for monoclonal antibody. And like Regeneron, back when we had Regeneron for COVID, that was a monoclonal antibody. That was an antibody directed toward one thing. And a lot of the therapies, you see these psoriasis therapies advertised on TV, arthritis therapies advertised on TV, those are all monoclonal antibodies. But those won't work as well if you don't have the right intestines in your gut. So let's go to the next question. Well, how can you get the right bacteria in your gut?
Mm-hmm.
Well, there are pills. I mean, there's you can buy probiotics in pills. That's
Yogurt?
Fair. Yogurt would be one, but yogurt tends to just be one bacteria.
Okay.
The better ones would be kombucha.
Who?
Kombucha. It's a drink. It's a fermented drink. All these are fermented because in fermentation. Kombucha.
That's fun to say.
All this fermented stuff gets a lot of bacteria. That's how it ferments.
It's rotten.
And those are the bacteria that you need.
Okay.
So kombucha is like a tea or a drink, and it has anti-cancer properties in and of itself, but also has a lot of bacteria that your intestines need. kimchi, which is Korean food, I think. They sort of bury cabbage in the ground. And,
kimchi.
yeah. It's still like sauerkraut, but it's got more things in it.
Okay.
It tends to be a little hot, too. It's Kimchee, I believe. Sauerkraut, that's be a local variety.
Yeah.
So if you eat like a couple tablespoons of sauerkraut a day, that'll keep the right bacteria in your gut.
Okay.
Kefir, that's the hot new thing. I think it's Kefir. So you got kombucha, kimchi, and kefir all start with a K. And if you use yogurt, make sure it's got active cultures. I think Yoplait does. But sometimes the cultures have been killed. They've been pasteurized out and killed the bacteria that made the yogurt. So it's just say active cultures or something like that on the side. And that's the way you can keep the right bacteria in your gut.
Who? Oh, that
yeah, all these things. I stick with sauerkraut because I like sauerkraut. My wife likes kimchi, but she tried kombucha as well. Now, a warning came out from the CDC and the FDA. Says if you're traveling and you're over 60, don't get the chikungunya vaccine.
Yeah, chicken who?
Chikungunya. That's a disease people tend to get while they're traveling. I think there's a couple 300 cases a day in the United States from people that have traveled. It's CHIKUNGUNYA. Chikungunya. And there's been some possible really bad side effects from that vaccine. Of course, my opinion, this is mine, not the radio stations or anybody else or its advertisers. I think we need to avoid vaccines right now until we get some, like a moratorium. I'm just asking for a moratorium. I'm not saying I'm anti-vaccine totally. I might get there, but right now we need a moratorium on them until we look at them all and decide which ones do we really need, or do we need any of these? Right now, I'm not sure we do need any of these, but we need to take a stop because a lot of bad things have happened to people, even with simple things, like your tetanus shot and all those. They all cause some bad things to happen to people.
Remember, guys, you can call us at any time, 865-457-1380, with any questions that you have for Dr. Ayers. That's why we call it Ask the Doctor. So anytime, no matter what we're talking about, just go ahead and call in. Jay will put you on hold and let us know, and we'll put you right on the radio.
The last time I mentioned a study, it was actually done by the Cleveland Clinic. Mm-hmm. It was a landmark study on the flu shot for this last season, and it showed a 26.9% negative effectiveness. So that means you were 27% more likely to catch the flu if you took the flu shot this last year.
Yikes.
That's bad. That was in a magazine called MedRx IV, but it was done in Cleveland Clinic. So in addition to the other side effects that you get from the vaccine, some of them don't work that well, and they make you more likely to get sick than if you just let it go. You have a pretty good immune system already, and if you eat the kombucha and the sauerkraut and the kimchi, you'll have probably even a better. Well, you will have a better immune system. I can guarantee you that. You'll have a better immune system. Carl, it's K-A-C-A-R-L-E. When the K is today, looks like Carl with an E. Mm-hmm. That's a Health Alliance system, and they're having layoffs in July. So the healthcare system is going through some turmoil right now, having to downsize, and some of the money has gone out of the field, and some of it's going to have more. I think you saw the president the other day. I think it was the executive order
yesterday, lowering drug prices.
Right.
Yeah. So
it's down to 59%, I think, on average, of what they were. And he did that through our favored nation status.
Yes.
Which is good because we do pay way too much for medicines here. I mean, compared to Canada or Mexico or definitely India. Like, say, when I was in India, we bought out a whole pharmacy for $150. Just everything in there.
Wow.
And that was around 2000. So medicines are way too expensive here in the United States, especially these new medicines. You can be $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month on some of these new hot-rodded medicines.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Yep. So here's just a little thought. So listen all the way through this next little thing before you get bent out of shape. Evidently, there was, quote, a whistleblower in Canada that stated that Bill Gates and his people had hired people to spray some form of mRNA vaccine that was like an inhaled vaccine. And they were doing it in Canada in places where their uptake was low for the shot. That made the news. In reality, that's probably not true. So you have to think of this little tactic. If you wanted to make somebody sound crazy or not believable, then you could say they said something, and then you come along and say, I can prove that that's not true. None of that's true. That guy's just a liar. So that's the kind of thing that's going on sometime in the news. So if you see some crazy thing in the news that's just totally out there, don't rush to believe it. You need to wait till all the facts come in. Yeah. You should wait a week or 2 weeks before you even start repeating things. Because I saw the article, and I read up on the article, and it looks like maybe that wasn't true. That was just all made up, really just to make people sound crazy who are against Bill Gates or against chemtrails or whatever. So here's the ivermectin story. I think somebody asked one of these artificial intelligence things to say what was like the best drug of 2025. So on January 1st, 2025, artificial intelligence ranked ivermectin as the #1 agent for blocking metastatic cancer. So you can ask artificial intelligence, like Grok and ChatGPT and all these different things, questions. And that was the answer that it came up with. Why would it say that? It said it because, in 1996, there was the study that showed where ivermectin stopped the resistance to chemotherapy. Now, most people, when they die of cancer, die either of the side effects of the chemotherapy or they die of the chemotherapy not working anymore. Maybe you knew people that the first dose worked really good and the second and third dose didn't seem to do what the first dose did. So here's what happens. There's a thing called permeability glycoprotein, PGP, big capital P hyphen a little GP, permeability glycoprotein. And what that glycoprotein does, it pumps out of the cell toxins. And what these cancer cells do, they develop this permeability glycoprotein. So the first time they get it with chemo, it just wipes them out. But by the next time you use your chemotherapy, it's got this glycoprotein that pumps the toxin, in this case chemotherapy, out of the cell and saves the cell from dying. What they found out was in 1996, mind you, was that ivermectin blocked that. And it makes chemotherapy still work. So if you're doing the traditional route for chemotherapy for your cancer and it's not working as well as it used to, or you went through this one and you went through that one, you went through that one, now the doctor says, let's go back and try that first one again. Well, it's probably not going to work because you've already got resistance to that. But if you added ivermectin to it, it probably would work. And you still got all the side effects of chemo to deal with. And maybe taking ivermectin by itself might even be a better way to go. But as far as the people sticking to the medical aspects of it, you can quote this study from 1996, 29 years ago, that showed that ivermectin blocked that resistance from developing. And it should save people. They say it would save half the lives. So the 600-some thousand people who die each year from cancer, it saves 300,000 lives. So that's pretty big news. That's why it's the #1 drug.
Yeah.
But my mom died of metastatic ovarian cancer. Most ovarian cancer today, they're saying, is actually the fallopian tube cancer. So we call it ovarian cancer still, but it's actually fallopian tube cancer. And she died of that in 2001. In 1996, they knew this. In and nobody said a word. They said it was actively suppressed. That means it wasn't ignored. It was actively suppressed.
Yeah.
That was available for my mom in 1996, when she was still pretty healthy with her cancer. So a lot of people have died in the last 30 years. Maybe didn't have to die in the last 30 years. But at least now we know. And your chemo doctor should be open to this. This is an addition to what he's doing. This is not an exception to what he's doing. And it should get pleasing results. Like I say, it should save at least half the lives. In scientific reports, in 7 Greek hospitals in Athens, Greece, they decided they weren't happy with how many people died from COVID. They said that really can't be true. They said some people died with COVID and some people died from COVID.
Yes.
And we wanted to know the difference. So what they did is they went back and looked at all the people that died from COVID in these 7 hospitals. And what they found, there were 530 in-hospital deaths, and 240 were not due to COVID. They were due to other things people had. They just happened to have COVID or a positive test for COVID, put it that way. Having a positive test for COVID, as you recall, really doesn't mean you have COVID, because the test is way too sensitive. So about half the people who said they died of COVID didn't die from COVID. They died of other stuff. And that probably expands to anywhere around the world, United States as well. Half those deaths were probably due to other things. We're going pretty fast. You better call.
865-457-1380 if you guys have any questions or comments this morning. What do you think the outcome of the president's order to cut the cost of prescription drugs, what kind of result do you think that'll have?
Well, first thing's going to happen is probably some judge from Bunkhole, Egypt is going to stop it. And I don't understand that at all.
Court cases against them.
And it's going to be hard for the opposing party to say that's a bad thing.
Because they've been after that for quite some
right.
time.
It's going to be awkward. We want high drug prices here, but listen, there are, what they say, 3 times more lobbyists for pharmaceutical companies than the next lobbying group. So whatever the highest lobbying group is next to pharmaceutical got 3 times that number of lobbyists. There's like 2 or 3 for every congressman.
Yeah.
And the push, and they give them a lot of money to run their elections on. And of course, they control the television. Remember, when they see ads for drugs on TV, it's not to get you to go to your doctor and ask about that drug. I mean, somewhere in the list, that's a possibility. What they're really for is to buy the news, because the news is going to be very cautious to say bad things about drug companies, since they're paying for about 75% of the news. And that's what they've done. They've bought the news. And there's a movement right now to get them off the news, or off TV altogether.
I didn't realize a place like London that their drugs were that much cheaper than ours. That's the president gave a example. Said he's got a friend, and this is what the president said. He said he takes the fat shot, and he said he's overweight, and so he's taking this fat shot, and he's over in London, and he went to take the shot, and I can't remember, paid $66 or $83 or whatever to get his shot over there. And over here, he pays $1,300 each time he gets the shot. So he was telling the president, what's the deal? That's part of what they were talking about, that, other countries get it way cheaper than we do.
Well, anybody who lives on the northern or southern border crosses the border to get their drugs. So if you live toward Canada, you go up there and get your medicines and you come back down. If you live near Mexico, you go down there and get your medicines and come back over. You'd be crazy not to, because
so much cheaper.
Inhalers and stuff like that. I mean, they're just pennies on the dollar compared to what we pay for, just because we will here in the United States. And like I say, when I was practicing, this is the way the industry goes. If I took off a cancer off your arm, I did plenty of those, I may charge, I don't know, say I charge $450 for cutting the cancer off your arm and sewing you back up and following you back up and taking the stitches out and all that. Okay, so my billing clerk would come over to me and say, you got paid 100% on that. That means I got $450 from the insurance company. Okay. Well, that's odd, because insurance companies only don't pay 100%. You may not know that, whatever your doctor charges is just a made-up number. It's just what?
An estimate or an idea?
It's an idea, really.
Yeah.
And you've made contracts, and it's different. So depending on what insurance company, one may pay more than another. Medicare is usually your worst payer. Like on a CBC, I think I got $4 for doing a CBC on Medicare.
What's a CBC?
That's a complete blood count. That'd be how many white cells, how many red cells you got, how many platelets.
$4.
Yeah, that's all they pay. And maybe $28 is the charge. At $4, I'm probably not even making any money. Yeah. It's probably a wash because I have to rent the machine and the reagents it takes to make the test. And, yeah. So it's like a break-even thing. But so just because I charged, you can't say Dr. Ayers charged $28 per CBC back in 1995, and he did this many per year, and so therefore he made this much money. No, because some insurance companies pay hardly anything on him. Some of them may pay the whole 28. But if you find one that paid the $450 for the cancer, my billing clerk says you're not charging enough, because nobody pays 100%. So what you do next time I take one off, it'd be $500. And she wait and see what we got paid. If I got paid 100% of that, she's raise it up again. So that's how it drives the cost up. Because evidently in my head, I thought the $450 was a legitimate charge for that.
Gotcha.
But insurance drives the prices up, and it's very unpredictable how much you're going to pay. You know, Medicare is supposed to pay 85% of what they think is a reasonable charge.
Yes.
So if I charge $100 for something, they say, well, we think it's worth $50, Dr. Ayers. And then they'll pay, what would it be?
85% of 50.
Yeah.
Which would be 42 or
42 and a half. Yeah. Something like that. 7.5%.
Give or take.
Yeah. So, yeah. And then you pay the other 15%. That's the deal with Medicare. They pay 85%, and you pay 15% of what they consider
the best price.
A reasonable charge. Yeah. So, and your insurance company may have different deals with you. How much you got to pay before they start paying anything at the beginning of the year. You've got your deductibles. It's all just a nightmare. So, VJ just wrote me there and said that our personal messages to people have been blocked on my Facebook. But
odd.
I'm pretty used to getting blocked. It's just the way of life. And you say, it's odd because these are legitimate treatments. I'm not pulling this stuff out of the air.
Sure.
This is all research stuff. And the powers that be block it. They don't want people to know. I mean, if it got out that you could probably treat a lot of your cancer over the counter, you know, or in Tennessee, you can find a pharmacist that will compound it for you.
Mm-hmm.
Then
that would hurt.
That'd be bad. Because remember, oncology is the money-making part of medicine.
Good morning. Welcome to Ask Your Neighbor this morning. You have a question or comment for Dr. Ayers?
Yes, I do, Ron.
All right, go ahead.
Dr. Ayers, my wife's got stomach cancer.
Right.
And she has to take a shot once a month. And she told me yesterday that shot costs $46,000 per shot.
Right.
Okay.
So is your insurance covering it, or?
Well, yes and no. And she got to have a PET scan every month. And that's insurance don't pay for that.
Right.
So the price of pharmaceuticals is going sky high.
Right. It's because they have these hot-rodded new drugs.
Right.
The pharmaceutical industry was about to bite the dust before COVID came out. They weren't making hardly any money. They hadn't come up with any new therapies, and what they did were like that expensive.
Yeah, they have to compound it, and it takes 3 hours to give it to her, and she just weighed 112 pounds, so they have to give it to her in the hip instead of the rear end. So,
if it were me and I had
that's unreal that one shot would cost $46,000.
Right, and they would say that it's worth it, and But, I mean, it's horrible that families are having to sit down and decide we're going to let our loved one just do their cancer thing and pass away because we can't afford the medicines anymore.
Yeah. Well, everybody's going to die of something, but, there's no need of rushing it.
Nope. Thank you, Carl.
All right, and I've got pulmonary fibrosis. They want me to go to a clinic for a clinical trial over in Knoxville. So I called. They want me to take a placebo, and it's going to try to make me like a guinea pig. I called the woman, and they said, what will it do? And they said that, well, it may help someone else. I don't really want to help someone. I'd like to help someone else, but I'd also like to help myself. But so anyway, the doctor that I'm going to, my pulmonary doctor, is in with it, the place, and he gets money from the company. So they said they pay me like $50 a day every time I went over. So I told them to put that on hold, and I'd stay on my butyrol and my sodium chloride till I go back to him and find out more about this.
Well,
okay.
Okay.
All right, Ron. Anyway, y'all have a great day over there.
You too, Carl. Bye-bye.
All right.
Good morning, WYSH. Do you have a question or comment for Dr. Ayers today?
Yes, this is my third and last call. Would you just ask him to give out his website, and what do I look on to find his Facebook page? And I'll hang up and listen.
Thank you.
I think Facebook page is Dr. David Ayers, and BJ, my wife, just said she posted on the general page all the stuff you needed to know.
Okay, Dr. David Ayers.
Yeah.
Okay.
And because evidently when we wrote people, they weren't getting their messages, direct messages or private messages. Going back to Carl there, I would consider adding ivermectin, and you don't have to tell the doctor, because A, ivermectin will not affect the chemotherapy in a bad way. If anything, it'll make it work better, even if it's just immunotherapy. So there are evidence, I think, ivermectin by itself can cure or at least improve stomach cancer. So it's a safe drug. I took it back when I've taken it 2 or 3 times actually, and it worked well in COVID. I got better like in 2 days. It was well tolerated. But it's like any drug, you should work your way up to the dose, because there's going to be somebody out there that's going to get a bellyache or something. Any new medicine you should do that with. But
step up to it.
I would definitely do that. And then Carl may want to look at it, just trying that whole 3-month thing, which is going to be on my Facebook page, Dr. David Ayers, for his pulmonary fibrosis. It's hard to know what these medicines do. And a lot of these diseases, we don't really understand them. And that's one of my big concerns. Now, a lot of pulmonary fibrosis classically was due to dust exposure. Like the worst OSHA thing in American history happened in West Virginia when they went to the New River and they bore a hole through a hill. We have nothing but sandstone in West Virginia, so the silicon was in the air, and these guys got pulmonary fibrosis, and it was horrible. So that's some of it, but then some of it's just idiopathic. We don't know why people get it. So idiopathic sounds like idiot, which is what it basically means. We don't know why people get it, and therefore trying these contraband cures, or what's on my page, I guess now, is a thought. Like I say, I'm not treating anybody. I'm just putting information out there. You can. So BJ says David Ayers, MD. Something my Facebook page is called.
Dr. David Ayers, MD?
It's David Ayers, MD.
David Ayers,
I don't
MD.
know.
Okay.
I guess I could look it up. Back during COVID, I wrote articles like sometimes 2 or 3 a day. And then I said everything there is to say about it. I haven't written much since then. But I was getting so shadow banned. Only the 30 people that knew about the website were getting any information. Alrighty, this is from the White House. They're doing a review of the whole COVID thing. The White House said, social distancing 6 feet, was arbitrary and not based on science, and it was just ridiculous. So you still go in some stores and see those little circles on the floor. That's just a reminder of how stupid the government can be and companies can be. And basically they want to see how stupid we were. I ignored them, especially the ones that think like home something there, interiors, whatever. They had arrows on the floor, so you can go this way in this aisle, and you go that way in that aisle.
Oh yeah, they had that at
just
Walmart too.
I'd like to go backwards just to see. I did get thrown out of a few stores. I'm not normally that bold out there, but it just got to be so stupid. Mask mandates, it said there's no conclusive evidence that it made any difference at all. So all you people that wore masks, the summary finally said and done. We knew this before. We knew it before. Because we had all these studies with flu, which is basically the same kind of thing. That the masks don't work. In fact, if you looked at the box on the side, it says, this mask will not protect from COVID-19. It said it right on the box, and everybody was getting them out of the box and acting like they had some kind of protection. It did not protect you at all. In fact, it hurts your health. Because one, you breathe in a lot of plastic, and two, you breathe in your own exhaled air. So you're raising carbon dioxide in your blood. It's had adverse effects on your brain. You're just hurting yourself. That's always happening. And if you're doing it today, you're still hurting yourself. Prolonged lockdowns had a negative effect on the economy. They had negative effects on the mental and physical health of adults, but especially children. So think about all these kids that, one, never got to go to a prom because they didn't have one. We didn't go to walk across the stage for graduation because they didn't have one. All these things that we look back on our youth and say, man, that was a great day. That was a great time. They don't have those memories. They didn't get to go to school with their friends. They sat at home and looked at a computer screen. The only good thing that happened out of that was the parents got to learn what the kids were actually learning in school. Mm-hmm. So how dumb some of it was. So that was from the White House. That was the official summary. Catherine Austin Fitz, she was actually must have been under whose administration, but she was just something with finances. But she said this poisoning of America is bankrupting America. Particularly, she thought vaccines, because you get a child with autism, even if it's mild autism, it's costing the average family about $5 million over the course of their life. That's $5 million that could have gone to the family, and it's gone to one person in the family. And typically when we see autism and we say, oh, that kid has autism, you're not seeing the worst of autism. The worst of autism you're not going to see out in public very often. You know, these are people who have to wear diapers and have no interactions hardly with their surrounding. That's bad autism. We see a lot of marginal people where, you know, they can't live by themselves, but they seem to be somewhat interactive. That's bankrupting America. Two, the pesticides. We're just killing ourselves with pesticides. Our foods have so many pesticides in them, and it's given us some of the reasons we have cancers. It's not all the reasons we have cancers, but some of the reasons we have cancers is just the amount of pesticides sprayed in our food. Glyphosate, you know, the herbicide, it's just in any kind of grain, in soy products, corn, it's just loaded with glyphosate. A lot of the people who think they have gluten sensitivity from grain, really, they just have glyphosate sensitivity. They really don't have a gluten sensitivity. It's just it's the pesticide on the grain. It's the issue, and they need to stop that, because now, you know, it's so much in the dirt. I'm not sure anything else will grow.
I believe we got a call coming in here.
Ready?
Good morning. Do you have a call for Dr. Ayers this morning? Question?
Yes, I have a fractured pelvis and a strained muscle in that area. Does he have any suggestions as to what you could do for that?
Was that a fall?
No, I did not fall. I'm a stage 4 cancer patient, but
okay.
I've been told by the orthopedic doctor it just takes time, but it's been nearly 4 weeks. Not much better.
Okay. You want to hang up and listen?
Well.
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Fractures of any kind of bone from cancer even from the treatment of cancer, is called pathologic fractures. So I had a lady come to my office one time, and she brought her son in because he was sick. And I noticed her walking down the hall, and I said, "You walk really peculiarly." She said, "Well, her hip hurt." So I sent her down for x-rays, and her pelvis and her femurs and her spine, they were shot full of tumors from metastatic breast cancer. I said, "Perchance you have any nodule in your breast that you felt?" She said, "Well, yeah." Well, she had a rock-hard mass in her breast that was as big as a tennis ball, you know. And she just chose, this was a school teacher, by the way, and she just chose to ignore it. Now, last I heard, I think she was still with us. But ignoring things, it's my point, is they don't help. But those are what called pathologic fractures. So, and there are a lot of pathologic fractures with osteoporosis, or people get osteoporosis. You know, they'll turn in their hip fracture. That's still a pathologic fracture. I think that as far as the pain, it's very difficult to make better. It really is. I mean, there are, of course, pain medicines, but they have their own issues involved. But sometimes with a fracture, you about have to have some. Radiation, I'm not a big fan of radiation, but radiation for any kind of tumor in a bone that made it weak usually works pretty good. For the cancer itself, I keep saying ivermectin, but there's fenbendazole if you want to change the medication. Just look up those contraband cures, and I'd try the protocol. Honestly, if I got diagnosed with the cancer, I would try that before I even did anything where I would consider chemo. I would do that first. That's just me. Doesn't have to be you. My experience has been that people go to their doctor and then they look this stuff up when everything has failed. And then it works sometimes, in spite of the fact they've been on umpteen other medications. So you wonder why they don't do that first. It's safe. It's well tolerated. You don't lose your hair. You don't get sick. And some people have reactions to cancer gets destroyed so fast. But honestly, I just trying to think. Yes, they use the word cure with cancer, but I think we're going to get to the point where we're going to start using that word. Well, this all came out, if you remember back on Q drops, and the Q thing was out there forever. Mm-hmm. Well, one of those Q things said, there are multiple cures for cancer with an S. And I thought, and they were just being withheld. People told me that my whole career. Doctor, you know there's cures for cancers out there, and they're not telling you. And I thought, who would do that? I mean, there's so much money could be made if you just... Well, the answer is it's not that much money to be made because they're cheap. So...
Let me do this real quick. Let's take a quick break and let you guys get on the phone. 865-457-1380. We'll get you on here if you've got a question for Dr. Ayers. We'll be right back after this.
A former champion dominates in Kansas. I'm Kyle Rickey.
That springtime is near, and it's almost time to get back outdoors and do the things you enjoy, like fishing, motorcycle riding, golfing, and more. I know you're ready, but is your recreational vehicle ready? Master Battery at 2217 Callahan Drive in Knoxville can help. Marine batteries starting at only $95.99 each. Golf batteries starting at $115 each. Motorcycle ATV batteries starting at $49.99 each. Lawn batteries starting at $40 each. Automotive batteries starting at $99.95 each. Why pay more when you don't have to? Stop by Master Battery today. 2217 Callahan Drive. Call 865-947-1500. Why pay more when you don't have to? Home of the best price guarantee. Master Battery, 2217 Callahan Drive, Knoxville. Or online at masterbattery.com. And don't forget to ask about our extended warranty, 1 year or 2 year free replacement. Added protection for when you need it most. Master Battery. Saturday, May 24th. Make plans to attend the Juicy Bail Bonds Customer Appreciation Event at Anderson Anderson County High School. At 10 a.m., we'll get started with a huge car and bike show. Entry fee $20 for cars, $10 for bikes, and the top 10 in each class get a trophy. At 12 noon, meet Dwayne Dog Chapman and Leland Chapman from the hit TV show Dog the Bounty Hunter. At 4 p.m., it's MSWA Championship Wrestling with 5 big matches. There'll be food vendors on site all day. Sponsored in part by Lowe's Toes, Realty One, Mortgage Investor, O'Shear's Paving, and Trinity Roofing. And a portion of the proceeds will go to Axley Morez, who's battling Hunter syndrome disease. Don't miss the huge car and bike show. TV stars Dog the Bounty Hunter, Dwayne Dog Chapman, and Leland Chapman. And MSWA Championship Wrestling. Admission for this event is free. Yes, free admission. For more information or to register as a food vendor, call 865-360-4830. Juicy's Bell Pond Customer Appreciation Event, Saturday, May 24th at Anderson County High School, 130 Maverick Circle in Clinton. Admission is free. Here's Dr. Mark Smith, Physician's Associate from Way to Go Weight Loss Center and Anti-Aging Medical Spa with a brand new product, a shot.
It's a once weekly shot that helps you lose inches around the waist and also pounds.
Hundreds of people just like you have already lost weight with Way to Go Weight Loss Center.
Hi, I'm Amber Malbrew, and I heard about Way to Go Weight Loss Center from a friend and decided to give it a try. I was exercising and eating healthy, but it just seemed like I wasn't making any progress. So I decided to give Way to Go a call, and I'm so happy that I did. I've lost 30 pounds, and Dr. Mark and his staff are so friendly, and they make you feel extremely comfortable. They have absolutely changed my life for the better, and I haven't felt this great in years. So don't wait another minute. Call Way to Go Weight Loss Center and start enjoying your life again. You won't regret it.
Call 865-219-8650. 865-219-8650. Way to Go Weight Loss and Anti-Aging Medical Spa.
As a homeowner, I'm always looking for peace of mind, especially when I have a costly, unplanned expense, like a cooling system repair or replacement. That's when I turn to the eScore Quality Contractor Network. They're the pros who've been specially trained and approved by TVA and your local power company. The quality contractors are licensed and insured, so you can be assured the job will be done right and inspected for free. Contact your local power company or visit energyright.com to learn more.
Here's a friendly reminder. Father's Day is June 15th, and if you want to make Dad really happy, head to Shylock's Pawn in Clinton. They've got everything a dad would want, from tools, guitars, TVs, electronics, fishing gear, knives, handguns, and more. So it'll be easy to put a smile on dear old Dad's face this Father's Day with a trip to Shylock's Pawn. And don't forget, Shylock's offers easy, fast loans if you need money. Shylock's Pawn, 1204 Clinch Avenue in South Clinton, 865-457-2960. And remember, Shylock's has cash for you.
We're back here this morning. Doc, what else do we have here? Remember, guys, if you're going to call, do it now. 865-457-1380. If you have a question for Dr. Ayers, here we go. Good morning. Welcome to Ask the Doctor. Do you have a question for Dr. Ayers today?
Yes, I do.
Go right ahead.
He had mentioned radiation for a issue with arthritis or cancer. Does he recommend my husband has real bad knees, and he's thinking about doing the Helix, which I think they do those X-rays or radiation on the knees and different joints for arthritis, and he's got the osteopenia anyway. So I was wondering if that would be safe.
Okay.
And then I've got another question. I've got a friend that has a wart that keeps coming back. She's had it removed twice from the doctor. And what would be something that she could do to get rid of that? But it's on her little finger, and it's really irritated.
All right. Thank you, ma'am.
I'll listen.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Helix.
Helix I wanted to look up.
All right.
I can't imagine radiation would help osteoarthritis. That's in.
Okay.
Who knows? So I'll have to look it up. I have to address that next time. The wart, warts are caused by a virus, human papilloma virus, and that's the same kind of virus that causes, they thought caused cervical cancer. That's when people take Gardasil for. They take the Gardasil shots which is a vaccine, by the way.
Give that to kids in their teens, don't we?
9, I think, was age. Came out was just for girls, because girls ones got cervical cancer.
Yeah.
But then they said, well, if the boys didn't have it, girls wouldn't get it. So that's just the argument they made to give it to the boys. I'm sure it was no financial thoughts involved there.
Mm-hmm.
But it causes venereal warts. But I don't think I read somewhere the other day that he has to stop his first cancer. So anyway, the subtypes that vaccine is geared to aren't the kind that come on your fingers. But it is a virus. I don't recommend chewing on these things. You might theoretically get a wart on your lip, because a lot of people do that. Those aren't seeds in the top, okay? So you hear a lot of that. The little fibrous things pointing straight up are seeds. You need to get those out, or the black ones in there. The black ones are just blood vessels that have clotted, and it's just a growth. The natural history of a wart is to go away. Almost all of them will just go away if you don't do anything. And you need to file that away because almost all the therapies leave a scar. So if you freeze it, if you burn it, if you laser it, and I had a lot of success lasering them, you're going to leave a scar. So now some people want it off so bad, they'll endure a scar on the finger the rest of their life just to get rid of it. But the problem is the therapies up to this point haven't got all of it out. So in some ways it's a little bit like a cancer. You got to get all of it.
Or
you can't see the virus. You can't know where the virus stops. So you basically got to get it and a little bit around it and hope you got it all. But I've seen scars come back worse than the wart ever was. Just big raised masses on people's fingers.
Wow.
So particularly in children, if this is a child, I know kids don't want to raise their hand up in class or something. The kids make fun of them. But think about how many kids have warts on their hands. A lot of them. Think of how many adults have warts on their hands. Hardly any of us. Okay? It just goes away. Even the human papillomavirus that causes cervical cancer, they found by the time women got 30, most of them had rid themselves of the virus. So the best thing, if it's a young person, is probably just to ignore it. Give it a year or two and see if it just goes away. But I'm sure there are immune therapies now that you could do. That seems pretty aggressive. You can get freezing things over the counter, I think, and try to freeze it yourself. Just know you have to freeze it really good. You have to freeze it and then let it thaw out and then freeze it again, like in 5 or 10 minutes, and then let it thaw out and then freeze it again. And it does sting to freeze it. It's just like you might think it does. And then it'll take maybe a week or 2 weeks to slough off if you've killed enough tissue. So most of them, rule one, most of them will just go away if you just leave them alone. 2, if the stuff you can do to the house is probably freezing it. I'm sure there's immunotherapies that probably a dermatologist has. Cutting them out, I think that's just probably a waste of time.
All right. What else you got for us?
There's been a problem with these 5G towers. It's going to be 6G towers before long. And I think if you saw the Make America Healthy Again thing, one of the things is to cut down the radiation we're getting exposed to.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're getting exposed to way too much of it. Remember, we're electrical creatures, so all this stuff affects your body and affects your brain. And right now, there's all these things coming out from DARPA. You know, DARPA is the Defense Advanced Research Program. I think it started in 1958 after Sputnik went up. So the government is messing around with what they can do to people. Can they do mind control of people? And what they found out was the brain likes to sync itself with certain radiations. So if they can do amplitude modulation, which is just like the radio we're on, AM radio, at 30 cycles per second. I don't know what the carrier wave was. I think radio is 455 kilohertz, but some carrier wave, and then do amplitude modulation at 30 cycles per second or less. The brain will sync up with that and make people sleepy, because that's what your brain does sort of in sleep, or calm people down. So if they did that to a bunch of soldiers before they go into
make
attack,
them sleepy,
they would be tired and not very good soldiers. But a lot of our ambassadors have faced this stuff. You've heard of, like, the Havana syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
They've placed stuff in their brains. It can make the brain hot. It can make the brain swell. It can damage neurons, all this stuff. And some people are definitely more sensitive to it than others. So in Pittsfield, Massachusetts, 19 people got very sick just in days after they put up a new tower right in the neighborhood. Another area, a lady had 51 consecutive strokes after they put the tower up. So it seems like Congress is not really interested in it. They think a certain number of people are going to have to die so the rest of us can have our YouTube or whatever. They just think that's the price we got to pay for this. But that's just not right. You can't hurt individuals like that just for the benefit of everybody. This is the Mother's Day's message. It came from, I think, Children's Health Defense. One, it says, it's what you can do for your family. Remove highly processed foods from your home. So, one of the things about our food is so highly processed, stuff's removed. I told you there was a show you can watch called, I think it's Tom Ask Jim is the guy's name, and he digs up old outhouses. He finds where they were in somebody's yard. He digs them up. He's got all these bottles because people use them as like trash dumps. And the one thing he says, we're in the use layer now. That means he's in poop. But it's 100-year-old poop, so it's pretty much dirt. But the amount of seeds in that stuff is incredible. People ate stuff more raw than we eat it.
Yeah.
We eat jelly, it's got no seeds in it. You know, it's been strained out. They didn't. They ate the fruit and they ate the seeds, and it's just a ton of seeds. If you looked at poop today versus poop 100 years ago, the amount of seeds and debris in there, the roughage is incredibly different. Our food's been hyper-processed, so all that stuff's taken out, and you only get to the most luscious part of what's left, and that's killing us. Buy organic as much as possible, and what organic means can vary from here to there, but it does seem to help. Get quality water. Your bottled water should say spring water. And the government's got rules on how things are labeled. So if it's artesian, it's got to be a certain thing. If it's regular spring, it's got a certain thing. If it's just purified, it all have different qualifications. You can look them up on the government sites and see what it means. But spring water seems to be the best. Get kids away from screens and get them outside. So few kids out playing basketball or tennis or anything. This lady called Sally Fallon Morell, M-O-R-E-L-L. It's funny, said something that I've been saying on this radio show for at least a year. When the death rate for people with low cholesterol is higher than the death rate for people with high cholesterol. You may not have known that.
Well, I did not.
So,
is that because there are more people in the population with lower cholesterol?
No, low cholesterol is a little bit rare, but it's a bad marker for people's health.
Okay.
And high cholesterol, I mean, there may be more heart attacks in the group with high cholesterol, but the overall death rate is better for you if you have elevated cholesterol.
Gotcha.
One of the medications to treat it have side effects, have muscle wasting, have muscle pain, and then you can get infertility. So, and she said this, a low cholesterol will lead to low estrogen, will lead to low testosterone, will lead to low vitamin D. That's what we've been saying on the show. If vitamin D, testosterone, estrogen, progesterone, cortisol in the body are all made from cholesterol, and your cholesterol is low, how can you think your testosterone is going to be okay? How can you think your estrogen is going to be okay? It's not going to be okay.
Sure.
And so people will get testosterone shots, which it's got its own problems. Next thing. One of the things, your brain is made in large part from cholesterol, by the way. So you can't think your think is going to get any better if your cholesterol is low. And butter is not bad, okay? Animal fats are not unhealthy. Cholesterol is not the enemy in your food, okay? We took that turn. We've done it. Heart disease really did not drop. In spite of all the low cholesterols we got out there, people still have the same number of heart attacks they had before. And just don't be worried about frying in butter. It's better than the seed oils. The seed oils like safflower oil, sunflower oil, all that stuff's not good for you. And it seems to be not good for you because of the way they have to extract it. So if they squish it and get the oil out of it, that seems to be okay. So olive oil, it's squished. Virgin olive oil is the first squish, okay? Extra virgin olive oil. That's what it means. That's why it's extra virgin. It's the first time they squeeze those olives and got the oil out of it.
Got it.
After that, you just get olive oil, okay?
Gotcha.
So you tend to have a lot more flavor of the olives and stuff in it than the first squish. They can get coconut oil is good that way. And some of these you can fry at high temperatures and some of them you can't. And butter's good for frying your eggs or whatever. But these other oils, safflower oil, sunflower oil, canola oil, they basically have to extract the oil. So they put the seeds into a solvent, which is a petroleum distillate. Think like gasoline stuff. And that can extract the oil, because likes dissolve like, if you remember that from chemistry class. Likes dissolve like, so they put basically a petroleum-like substance in there with the oils in the thing. It'll dissolve it out. Then they have to extract the petroleum distillate out. Well, they can't probably get it all out. And then you got this tainted oils. So don't do the seed oils.
Okay.
Another thing is that an adjuvant, that's ADJUVANT. Those are added to vaccines to make the immune response higher. So if they just inject you with the dead flu stuff in your arm, which is what they usually do, they kill the flu virus and they inject its dead bodies into your arm, and your body says, "Oh, that's flu," and makes a response to it. That's the theory of how it works. Well, sometimes the response is not that hot, as we saw this last year. So they add aluminum to it. Aluminum makes the response greater. The trouble is, it makes a lot of responses greater. So if you got it if it had some peanut in there as well, then you might end up with peanut allergies, because we used to have people with peanut allergies. And now everybody and their brother's got peanut allergies. Mm-hmm. And you have to label it on their store. We got peanuts in this store. And that didn't used to be a problem. That's a new problem. It seems to be created by the vaccines. And what if you did it this time of year when the flowers are blooming like crazy out there?
Oh, Lord.
Well, then you get allergic rhinitis. You get eczema. Eczema and allergic rhinitis are so high in children right now that 50% of our children in the United States have a chronic disease. Let me say that again. 50% of the children in the United States have a chronic disease. That means when they go to their chart and just doesn't say well child, that's what they used to say, well child checkup, well child checkup. No, now it's well child checkup, severe eczema, well child checkup, severe allergic rhinitis. And all these kids are on all these antihistamines and lotions and trying to keep these allergies under control. And it probably stems from the amount of aluminum they're getting injected into the bodies with these. At least that's part of it. And the final thing, there's a growing concern about the amount of spike protein in female strokes. So since they've had this mRNA shot and made people make spike protein, you remember that's how it works. Mm-hmm. So rather than injecting spike protein in somebody's body, they told the body to make spike protein. They didn't tell the body to quit making spike protein, however. So some people are still making it. And they're finding that these women that have strokes, particularly young women, 17 months, 18 months, so a year and a half after they got the shot, they're still making spike protein. It's still in their blood. And
they don't need it.
No, they don't need it. And it's remember, that was a part of the virus that was bad. And now your body's making it. And they're getting strokes. I remember Justin Bieber's wife had a stroke. Hailey Bieber, I think's her name.
Okay.
She had a stroke. I'm not saying it's from the shot, but it sure seems suspicious that a girl would do that. I mean, it can't happen with birth control pills, but it makes you wonder. So,
okay.
Just summary. Until we do some more research on these vaccines, I think you should consider not taking them. Just think about it. And if you got a cancer, you should consider looking up some of these protocols online. And contraband cures is probably the best one.
Contrabandcures.com.
Right. It seems to be the best one out there, the ones I've seen, as far as getting good results. And just follow it. Just follow it. And I say stuff's cheap. It may cost you $200 or $300, but hey, it's cheaper than $46,000 a month that the other fellas having to pay.
Yeah.
So those are the thoughts. There's good news out there. You can treat a lot of things yourself these days, and you can sure save yourself a lot of trouble by trying to avoid all this high processed food in your store.
All right. Dr. Ayers will be back normally the first Monday of the month, so he'll be our first Tuesday of the month. So that we'll pick that back up in June. So make sure you're here for that. If there are any questions in the meantime, you guys can email us and we'll have them for you. Or you can be back here with us next time on Ask the Doctor, Ask Your Neighbor version of Ask the Doctor here on WYSH. Anything else? We done?
My wife said you can take duct tape. You can. Let's just get this right.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, some people put duct tapes on these warts because it makes it get all white. If you
duct tape on what?
On a wart.
Oh, okay.
Because you've left a Band-Aid on too long, your skin's got all white.
Yeah.
So you can do that to the wart, and then it'll sort of just make it decompose. So you can take like a
piece of duct tape.
Yeah, just put it over the thing and let a lot of time pass.
And no, it'll go away.
Yeah, get destroyed hopefully.
There you go. And we'll end with that.
Thank you for listening to AM 1380 WYSH and Ask Your Neighbor. Make sure you tune in at 10 a.m. each day, Monday through Friday, right here on AM 1380 WYSH and BBB TV 12. Or listen live online at WYSHradio.com. And remember, if you have a question, comment, or problem, call in tomorrow and ask your neighbor. Or email from our website. It's Ask Your Neighbor. Thanks for listening.